Okay. So we're going to start with, well, let's start seated if you want. And we'll start with our Garuda Mudra. And, the mudra is really kind of symbolizing freedom, and it's like bringing up freedom within. So maybe just think about what freedom means to you as we hold this mudra. So sitting comfortably if you want, and just bring the left hand in front and the right hand in front of that. So the right hand is closest to the heart and the left hand is further away. And it's just like that, like when you do your hand puppets. So the right hand towards the heart and the left hand in front, and just the thumbs kind of interlace. And we'll just hold that. Maybe you can sit wherever it feels good for you. Maybe in front of the heart, maybe in front of that solar plexus. Maybe softly close the eyes. Be dropping into that freedom. Maybe scanning the body as well. For freedom within the body. Freedom to feel, freedom to be, freedom to express, freedom to listen. Dropping into our yin practice, the receptive part of our day here. Embodying Garudasana tonight, eagle pose. Throughout the week, we've been focusing on our center. The mantra for Garudasana is, at the center of life's storms, I stand serene. You can drop into that, or drop into any variation of freedom for you. And now shifting into the shape aspect of our practice, we can let go of the mudra. We'll exhale as we let that mudra go. And we're going to begin with our caterpillar. That's that legs out in front, nice and long. If you've got your bolster, you can bring that bolster on your legs. Maybe you just have blocks. And maybe you want to bring a blanket roll underneath the knees. You can do that. You can sit on a blanket. You sit on a blanket, you might notice a stretch more in the back of the legs if you sit on a blanket, if you lift those hips up. If you don't have a blanket, you might notice it more in the back. Maybe just explore that. You can put that roll underneath the knees. And if you want, bring that bolster on top and just lay over that bolster. Or maybe you do no bolster. And you can reach for those toes and just collapse over the toes, over the legs. So there's lots of options. And we'll be here in our caterpillar, surrendering into this fold. Let the head be heavy. Maybe bring your awareness to the crown of the head. And from that crown down the spine, we feel some freedom in the back. And on our back body, we energetically receive. So maybe giving ourselves freedom to receive, freedom to receive. Whether it be a friend coming over and bringing a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, receiving that. Whether it be us having a break in the day and receiving some time for ourselves. Whether it be the yin yoga practice at the end of the day. Letting the breath be effortless. And as we fold here, we're supporting the kidneys because the urinary bladder meridian runs along the back. Giving ourselves time here to recharge. When we're going, it's a lot of adrenaline. And so kind of refilling our tank here. Our forward folds support us in pacifying our nervous system. Again, you know, that go, that fight or flight, that adrenaline that keeps us on, you know, on top of our game, we could say. Allowing us to rest and recharge. Maybe you lift up out of the shape a little bit and then fold back into it. Maybe you notice maybe a little more of a fold. You don't have to. Remember, less isn't always, or more isn't always better. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. Breathing in, breathing out. Letting go of any awareness. Let's give ourselves a breath in. And then exhale, another breath to kind of sink into the shape. Now let's slowly roll back up those shoulders, coming over the hips. And then maybe as we rise, we kind of lean back just a little bit and maybe wiggle those shoulders, maybe twisting the back just slightly. And then if you had a prop or a blanket under your hips or under your knees, remove that. And let's make our way to that rebound. Let the back of the body sink into the floor. When you're ready, you can let the legs be long, or maybe you just keep them bent, it's fine. Scan the body, offering freedom as the inner eye passes from the toes to the head, to the fingertips. Freedom to feel. Freedom to be. That freedom to receive. Exhale. And now as you're ready, let out a breath. Let's find a block. We're going to come into some low back compression. So maybe that's into a supporting bridge, and then the legs out long. So I'm going to show you every little option. So you lift the hips, place that block under the sacrum, and then let the legs come out long. And the arms can come up overhead. That's what Annalise likes to do. You can bring them overhead, opening up those meridians along the shoulders and the hands, the arms. So that's an option. And then another one that's on the front of the body, you can come into your sphinx, but I'm going to show you a variation for that tonight. So we'll have the block on, or the bolster on the floor, and then bring your thighs on top of that bolster, and then come into your sphinx with those heels towards the glutes. So it almost looks like your wheel pose or your bow pose. So when we're in our yang class, we come into chakrasana or Urdhva Dhanurasana. If you flip me upside down, that's what this kind of looks like. This is a really deep back bend. So maybe try this. You can even bring the legs out if that's better, but try to bend those heels towards the glutes, and your elbows are underneath the shoulders, like in Sphinx. And feel that compression on the low back. You know, in our yin yoga, we put pressure on our bones, and that's what helps support our bone density. So this is really supportive, especially for us women. We begin to lose our bone density as we age. So we're promoting this bone density with this weight on our bones. See if you can drop into a little freedom, receiving on the back body here. Freedom to receive, freedom to feel, freedom to be. Make sure you're breathing. We breathe into the space between those shoulder blades. You might even notice a stretch on the quads. Breathing in and out. We'll count down from 10. 9. See if you're going to relax the glutes. There you go. And the low back. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Begin to lower down. The elbows come down onto the heart. And then maybe just kind of let those legs come along and then slide off the bolster. You can just slide over, maybe even just coming off your blanket or mat. And maybe if you want, you can nudge that bolster over, but come flat on your belly. Maybe you want to come onto your back and hug the knees into the chest after that deep back bend. So however you want to rebound. Let yourself come long on the floor. Exhale. Imagine as that chi moves, it's creating freedom in the body as it allows those cells to function optimally and have that enhanced immune system and our enhanced health, allowing us to live our fullest life. Exhale. And now when you're ready, just come into a happy baby. So maybe the hands are on the big toes, or they can be on the outside of the feet. So we just compress that low back. And now we're just going to kind of offer that low back to kind of feel its way into the ground. If you have a strap, you can put the strap over the feet if you want and just hold the sides of the strap with the hands. So it's a little more yin than if you had your hands on your feet. So if you've got that happy baby, You can bring that strap up to the side. Feel that compression in the hips. You can bring the feet as wide as you want. This is also compressing a little bit that ascending and descending colon. With the bent knees, that's our stomach meridian, giving us nutrients out of our experiences, nutrients out of life. See if you can find some freedom in your life experiences. Opening up the backs, the legs here. Opening up to some freedom. Notice if it feels like parts of the body are maybe going to sleep. They're tingling a little. As long as there's no pain, that's okay. What brings you freedom? If you're really honest with yourself, what brings you freedom? When do you feel free? Now, as you're ready, extend the legs high to the sky. And then from there, bring those legs long to the floor, coming into your rebound. You might feel as though you just grew a couple of inches. Maybe the legs feel longer. Maybe the torso feels longer. Breathing in and out. Let the fronts of the shoulders relax as the backs of the shoulders rest into the floor. Let's give ourselves another breath in. And exhale, bend one leg and roll over to the side, come back up to seated. Giving yourself as much time as you need to make your way there. And we'll come into our shoelace or half shoelace. So if you want, have that left leg out long, and then bring the right foot over on the other side, and then let that right knee drop down. You may need to have a blanket or a block in between the knees. And then once you get your knee where you want it, bring your chin towards the knee or your heart. Another variation is a full shoelace with that left heel towards the right glute, and then swing that right leg on top, or that right knee on top of the left. You can always have a blanket in between the knees. So maybe you feel this on the outer glute. You might feel this on the outer leg. Maybe you feel it on the back. So give yourself that opportunity to kind of see where you feel it, and then sink into that sensation. And now if you don't like either of these, then maybe you come onto your back into a figure four. You can hug the knee in, the right ankle on top of that left thigh, and hug the shin. You might feel it more behind the leg if you do that. It's also kind of outer glute. So give yourself that permission to settle in. And walk the hands forward, and you bring them to the feet and just hold the feet. Let's drop in. Maybe breathing into where you feel Let's stretch and offering some freedom there. Give some freedom maybe to the low back, the upper back, and the middle back. Again, receiving on the back body, that energetic area of reception. This is the gallbladder meridian. We've talked about that one a lot lately. That outer hip. The urinary bladder meridian along the back. Really good. That gallbladder meridian supporting us in balancing that impulsivity, that indecisiveness, giving us that clarity. And as we drop in that low back, mid back, upper back, the urinary bladder telling us that it's okay, that we're okay. You're okay. We're okay. We might begin to feel impatience with the shape. So maybe letting go of our internal time clock. Letting go of internal deadlines. And see if we can drop into some acceptance. Notice if you're clenching the calves or clenching the backs of the legs, and let those legs relax. Notice if you're clenching the sides of the legs along the iliotibial band. Let's give ourselves a breath. And then on the exhale, dropping into some freedom. As you begin to lift up out of the shape, maybe notice how the temperature in the body is. Notice what the temperature is, where it's at. Is it shifting as we rise and kind of lift up out of the compressed kind of glob? Coming onto our backs, maybe feeling the temperature shift or change as we come down into the rebound. Oh, nice job. A lot of compression in that last shape. So you might feel the movement of chi in various directions, in various intensities maybe. You might need to kind of lift the backs of the legs off the ground and then lay them back down. Maybe you feel a little longer. Count it down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's exhale. Inhale. And now exhale. You can either stay on your back. We're going to come into our deer pose. So maybe you bring the feet to the floor and then you drop the knees over to the left, kind of dropping that right knee towards the left foot. and you open up into that quad stretch. Maybe you lift up off the ground and you bring a bolster behind you, and then you bring those feet kind of mat distance apart, drop the knees to the side, and you recline back on your bolster. So your knees might look like that with the right knee on top of the left foot. Now you might also bring that left leg long with the right knee, the right leg bent. That bolster can be behind you. The bolster can be on the floor. You can also just kind of be more upright. But the right knee is bent. The left leg can be straight, or the left knee can also be bent. Maybe you need to put a blanket underneath that knee. So lots of ways to come into your deer pose. Giving some goodness to this right side of the body, kind of calming down that masculine side so we can drop into this receptivity, this freedom to receive. Now let's give ourselves some awareness to the breath. And let's visualize breathing in through the right nostril. Exhale out the left. Visualize in the right, out the left. In the right, out the left. In the right, exhale out the left. Just visualizing the breath in the right nostril, out the left. Calming that left side of the brain, breathing in on the right, out the left. Maybe continue to do so, counting down from 56. Maybe getting to 0, maybe not. In the right, out the left. You lose your count, just start over, inhaling 56. Exhale. Inhaling again. Exhale. In and out. Letting go of your visualization of your inhaling on the right and exhaling left. Doesn't matter how far you got. Slowly bring those feet to the ground, bringing the knees to the sky. If you're on a bolster, bring your back to the ground, coming up that bolster. Let the legs come long, we'll come into our rebound. If you need to find a different shape or offer a different bit of movement to your body after this deer pose, go ahead and do so. You might notice one side of the body, the chi feels a little more active than another. Maybe noticing if there's a quieter area of the body as far as the movement of chi is concerned. Does one side or one part of the body feel heavier or lighter, kind of fuzzier or softer? Let's give ourselves a breath. Exhale, letting go. We'll roll over to seated again. Whenever you get to your seated spine, maybe move nice and slowly and with awareness. And now when you get to that seated position, let's bring our feet apart. We'll come into that dragonfly. So kind of adjust those sits bones, maybe rocking side to side. Then let those feet fall out or fall in, just allowing them to move wherever they want. And that's kind of an indication of the rotation of your hips. If your feet kind of fall out, that's external rotation of the hips. If they fall in, you might have more internal rotation. So that's kind of an indicator of how our hips naturally are, is how they kind of flop, right? So maybe keep that in mind as you go into different poses in your yang practice, how your feet naturally fall. So coming onto those sits bones, let the feet fall naturally in or out. Bring that bolster in front, or maybe you don't need a bolster. Maybe you need two bolsters. Maybe you need two blocks, whatever you need. Come into your dragonfly as you fold forward. Again, pacifying this nervous system. Maybe you bring more focus to the low back. You can sit on a blanket if you want. Let's fold forward through the middle. As much as you want. Less isn't always, more isn't always better. Sometimes less is where it's at. Less can be such a teacher. Now scan the body. Maybe notice the right leg, the left leg. Does one feel more open or more free than the other? And then letting go of any observation and dropping into the heels, the sits bones, the shoulders, the head, as heavy as the neck rounds. Notice the soles of the feet, let them soften. Exhale. This supports the liver meridian and our spleen meridian. Our spleen is what allows us to feel empathy. If it's overactive, then we might be a little codependent. We might take on everyone else's problems as our own. If it's deficient, we might not give a you know what. But if it's balanced, we might have that empathy that can be so supportive. We're not emotionally aloof. We're not emotionally codependent, but rather we're balanced. We have those safe boundaries. We can empathize with those that we love. That's the spleen. That's the spleen. Allowing that spleen to have a little bit of freedom. Doesn't have to worry anymore. Doesn't have to work so hard anymore. Maybe letting go of any anger to support the liver. letting go. Maybe visualizing a cooling color, perhaps blue or green, a color that might soften any fire energy that kind of feeds the spleen, the pancreas, the liver. Cooling here, freeing here. And slowly roll up, maybe one vertebra at a time. Maybe noticing how the backs of the legs respond as we kind of activate the legs in the back to pull us up and draw us up. Good job. Now bring the feet together. Maybe bend the knees and maybe a log roll onto the back. So kind of rolling to the knees and then the side. And then coming onto the ground. Noticing any noises in the back of the body or in the spine, hugging knees to the chest if you need to. Maybe you sway the hips or the knees side to side in a little windshield wiper motion, and then come into your rebound. Maybe noticing the sides of the body, the hemispheres of the body. We haven't done our shoelace or our deer pose on the left side yet. Can you feel that in your being? Can you feel a difference in heaviness or lightness, length? Do you notice more freedom on one side of the body than the other? When we let out our next exhale, let's maybe do a 3-part audible exhale. It might sound like this. We'll inhale and exhale. Ha, ha, ha. So we'll inhale together. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Do it again. Inhale. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. And then one last time. Inhale. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. And then breathe in. And breathe out. And then we'll bring our feet to the floor. We'll come into our deer pose first. So bringing that low back to the ground. And if you want, if you're ready, just go ahead and drop those knees off to the left side. If you want, you can roll over to one side, press up, and bring that bolster behind you. Even if you didn't do it on the other side, you might want the bolster on this side, because remember, each side is different. This is the feminine side of the body now, so this is the receptive side, the creative side. So if that's felt stifled at all lately, then it might be needing a little bit of different relationship to the shape. You can have that right leg long and have that left knee in. You might also want the right leg out and the left heel towards the left glute even for that quad stretch. Now let's drop into this left side of the body. If you want, you can bring those arms up overhead. That might activate those meridians across the shoulders and all the hands. Maybe you even interlace the hands and flip the palms upward towards the space behind you. Maybe saying to yourself, I am free. I experience freedom. I experience freedom. And I think I told us wrong. Our knees should be out to the right. That's going to give us that stretch in that left quad. So if you're not feeling in the left quad, it's because the knees should be out to the right. Sorry about that. With the left leg bent. Breathing in freedom to the hip flexors, the knee, the ankles. You might notice you need to shift the shoulder blades even. Opening up that left leg. Notice if you're clenching your glutes or if you're activating that top of the left leg, try to let it be loose. If you want, you can bring a block or a blanket underneath that left knee. If you want, you can bring the right foot on the outside of the left leg to give some weight. The outer glute, maybe the top of the leg. Maybe those armpits. Relax the jaw. That stomach meridian across the knee, giving us those nutrients out of life. Soften the eyelids and the space, the corners of the eyes. Can you feel your heart beating? Yep, as you're ready, kind of slowly bring the feet to the ground, let the knees come to the sky. There's no rush, really don't rush this. Bring yourself off the bolster onto the floor, however that makes sense to you. Let the legs come out nice and long. You might start to notice an evening out of the legs. If your legs had a texture, especially that left leg, what would that texture be? Would it be like pudding? Would it be like sand on the seashore? Just let that chi flow. Bringing evenness to your energetic system. Visualize the texture that you'd like your muscles to feel. And breathe that texture into your space. One more breath in. Then we'll exhale to bring the feet to the ground. We'll log roll over. So we'll come up for our shoelace or our half shoelace. If you want, stay on your back for your reclined figure 4. So we'll start this one with the right heel towards that left glute, and this time the right or the left leg is on top, that left knee on top of the right knee. If you want to do your half shoelace, the right leg is long and the left knee is on top of that right knee. You can bring a blanket between the knees if you need to. Going to fold over. Again, half shoelace with the right leg out in front, the left knee on top. And half shoelace doesn't mean that you're doing like halfway. So don't feel like you're failing at yin yoga if you choose half shoelace. It's not about that. There's no like jump start or jump shot to enlightenment if you do half shoelace or full shoelace or figure 4. It's about listening to your body, bringing that self-awareness in. Can you notice where you feel the response to this shape? Do you feel it in your mind? Do you feel it in the feet back? Breathe in some freedom to feel, some freedom to express, some freedom to be wherever it needs. You can't do this incorrectly. Your entire system is benefiting from this breath and this breath and this breath. You don't have to be like anybody else. You can be yourself, your authentic self. As you're ready, as freely as you can, lifting the heart, lifting those shoulders, and then just unraveling those legs. And as gently and kindly as you can, make your way to your back. Being really gentle with yourself, with those legs. Coming into your final rebound of Shavasana. Yeah, wrapping up in that blanket. Offering maybe if you need a little bridge flow after compressing those hips again, those hip flexors. Any movement that you need to support you in your Shavasana. Let the feet fall wherever they fall. Maybe they fall outward or inward. Maybe you find yourself in your clenched butterfly for your Shavasana. Relax the toes. Relax the fingers. Relax the space between the hips. Relax the space between the shoulder blades. Soften the space between the collarbones. Soften the space and the energy between the eyebrows. And then drop into your third eye point. And on an inhale, let that energy of the third eye draw inward. And exhale, feel it expand. Inhale, draw it in. And exhale, that third eye energy expanding. Contracting on the inhale. Expanding. Inhale. Exhale. Draw it in. Allow it to expand. And just dropping into that energy of the third eye. Our third eye is where the yin and the yang meet, where the right side and the left side meet. And they become one and they flow upward and outward through the crown chakra, through Brahma's gate. That connection to all living things. Feel freedom in your third eye. No more duality, no more polarities, just joined energy. Feel freedom through your entire being. Freedom flowing through your prana, through your chi. Maybe it feels as if your body is levitating over the floor. Lightness, but yet the heaviness of energy and being. Maybe you feel yourself outside of time and space. The freedom of existence. Feeling your hands and your toes. Feeling the beating of your heart. Feeling the physical location of your third eye. Feeling the back of the body on the floor. Feel the front of your body under the blanket or under your clothes. Wiggle the toes and wiggle the hands, dropping more and more into your physical body. Give yourself a breath in, full of freedom. Exhale. As you're ready, you can make your way to your seated position. As you're ready, maybe finding Garuda Mudra with that left palm facing the heart and the right hand coming in front of the left palm, the thumbs coming together. Maybe placing those hands, this mudra in front of the area where you energetically want some freedom. Maybe you physically want some freedom somewhere. Breathing that freedom in and out. And now let's exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Om. Shanti. Shanti.